wanting. I want to thank you for joining me today in our webinar, and thank you for taking time to make this a part of your life. And the word life, interesting word, because, this is your life. It is. This life you have is your design. Sure, other people are going to have an effect on it. Sure, situation and events are going to come to your life. But the great news is you get to design, you get to choose what your life is. And what I've learned is that every day that you wake up and you're given the gift of life, you get to design that day. But here's the next part of that. Every day you wake up, every day you get up, there's a slate in front of you. And that slate is either clean or it's filled with the residue of yesterday. For far too many of us, when we get up, the slate that we're looking at is still filled with some of the residue of yesterday. I had a conversation this week with one of my mentoring students. And can I say this to you, because a lot of people ask me, if you're looking for someone who could help you design your life to continue to move forward with calmness, with clarity, and with confidence, if you're looking for someone who could help you, I would love to have the opportunity to talk to you about being a part of my online mentoring program, where it's you and I designing a plan and a pathway for your life. It's you and I working together to keep you focused and keep you on track. I was talking to my mentoring student, and he was talking about how in his life, it seems that every day is a continuation of yesterday. And that he gets up and he looks at his day, and he even plans his day. But so many times, because of the residue from other people, he can't seem to get to his plan. So what does that mean? It means that so many times he is frustrated with his day before it even starts. It means that this day starts with what seems to be an impossibility to achieve everything. And the word that he's talking about is the word becoming efficient. And that is such an important word, because if you're not efficient, you'll never be effective. And when you deal with being efficient, you're dealing with moving at a pace that's filled with the patience you need to be persistent with what you need to do. And it's the word efficient that we really, really, really want today to focus on. And our message today is about becoming efficient. If I came to your life and you and I spent some time together looking at your life, would you say that you are efficient with your life? And what I'm really asking you is, if we looked at your life, are you efficient with your time? Because if you and I are going to be effective, and what does effective mean? It means that I have a pathway that's taken me forward. Would you and I be efficient with the time that we have? So we're going to talk about becoming efficient. And here's our thought. Without efficiency, you will always struggle with being able to what? Manage your time effectively. When you're not efficient, I promise you, you're going to struggle with time. And I'll also promise you this: when you're not efficient, you will procrastinate. When you're not efficient, you're going to struggle with being organized. Because there is this family that you have to have in place where, in order to be efficient and to be effective, I have to control those behaviors that get between me being efficiently effective. So if you're not efficient, you're always going to struggle with being able to manage your time effectively. Look around your life. How many things are there that you need to get to, but it just doesn't seem you have the time? How many times have you said this, or someone else has said it to you? There's just not enough hours in the day. Well, it's not about how many hours you have in the day, because you're not going to change the amount of hours in a day. It's about how efficient are you with the time that you have in that day. Without efficiency, you will always, that's a huge word, you will always struggle with being able to manage your time effectively. So, there's some words that we need to be able to put in front of us. And those words are critical. We seem to be frozen here for a moment. But those words become critically important. So, let's go to my dictionary. Let's deal with these words. Efficient. Look at my definition. The ability to continue to move forward through the effective use of my time and my energy. Efficient. The ability. What does that mean? I can do it. To continue to move forward, not stand in today, looking at yesterday, not standing in today, paralyzed with where I need to start, but to move forward through the effective use of my time and my energy. Now, remember what we said. If you're not efficient, you're not going to be effective. Because in order for you to be effective, and that's our next definition, it's the result of being efficient. See where they come together? Which allows you to be effectively efficient with your time. Folks, time is the most important gift you have. Why? Because it is and it isn't. Why? Because every time the time clicks, every time a moment goes away, you don't get it back. And so many of the regrets that people have in their life, and they talk to me about, so many of the regrets is the result of what they did not do effectively efficient with their time. Effective. The result of being efficient, which allows you to be effectively efficient with your time. So here's our big word, time. My definition. The space between the day you were born and the day you will die. Now, that space you're going to fill with behavior. And that behavior is either going to take you forward or it's going to trap you in that repetitive circle of sameness. Now notice I didn't say it's going to take you backwards. You can't go backwards. You can either go forward or trap yourself in the circle of sameness. And again, it's back to this. You have time. What you do with that time is your choice. What you do with your time is your decision. And you will always achieve what you set out to do. And what you set out to do will fill the space between the day you're born and the day you die. So time becomes that space between the day you were born and the day you die. And that space every day is going to be filled with behavior. And that behavior is either going to be designed to strengthen you or it's going to be designed to weaken you. That time, what you do with that time, that space, is going to be designed to either allow you to see the pathway forward or trap you in what you've already sought to do because you paralyze yourself in the circle of sameness. Time, the space between the day you were born and the day you will die, that you, no one else, will fill with your behavior. Now, other people are going to influence you. Other people may tell you what to do with your time. But when it comes down to the bottom line, what you do with your time is your choice. And you're either going to be efficient and clear a pathway to go forward, or you're going to paralyze yourself and either waste, abuse, or spend your time that in the long run will wear you down mentally and emotionally. And yes, it will affect you physically. So, what keeps most people from being efficient? Can we make this a checklist? So, as we walk through these, answer to yourself and say it out loud, whether this is an issue with you or not. Are any of these behaviors that keep you from being efficient? You ready? Everywhere you turn, there's some form of clutter to deal with. Is that you? Is there something that needs your attention? Is there something that you started that you didn't complete? Is there something that you have been procrastinating with? What keeps most from being efficient? Failure to prioritize. Where do you start? You ever had so much on your plate that you didn't know where to start? The gentleman I was referring to earlier, we were talking about, what is your challenge? He said, Richard, I got so many things to do, I don't know where to start. I said, okay, what if we prioritize? What would be the top 3 things you need to put your energy into? He said, they're all urgent. And you've been there. You got several things to do. All of them are critically important. So where do you start? When you can't paralyze, you cannot be, when you can't prioritize, you cannot be efficient. Finding fault. Finding blame. Finding a reason why nothing seems to make sense. Finding a reason or finding fault with something that you blame for what you're not doing with your time that would make you efficient. What keeps most? Inability to say no when saying no is the right thing to say. You ever guilty of this? Someone comes to you, asks you to help them. You really don't have the time, but you say yes. Because you feel guilty if you say no. You feel like you're going to disappoint somebody if you say no. You feel like that it's not right if you say no. No can be a word of freedom. Every time you say yes when you need to say no, you lose your ability to be efficient. And if you're not efficient, you're not going to be effective. You say yes, you go do, you come back, you try to pick back up where you were. You can't do it. You have got to know that to have control of your life and to be able to be efficient and keep your life growing, no has to become a part of your vocabulary. Are you challenged by this? What keeps most from being efficient? Communication skills are weak. We don't say what we feel. We don't create clarity with our conversations. Sometimes we're afraid. Sometimes we're not sure what to say. That sometimes is a byproduct of you not trusting yourself. And every time you doubt yourself, you will end up being scattered, being unclear, being unrealistic with your communication. What keeps most? Insecurity feeds your doubts. I find this true about a lot of people. That doubt owns their life. And do you understand what doubt is? It's a barrier between your emotions and your mind. It's you not believing in yourself. It's you not trusting yourself. It's you not having the faith in yourself to step out and take the risk to achieve. Because if you're to become efficient and grow, you've got to be a risk taker. And to do that, I've got to be sure within myself. I've got to have that faith that's demonstrated through my confidence. I got to have that belief that begins that foundation where I trust myself. What keeps most? Environment doesn't support positive efforts. You know what that's saying? You're in the wrong place. You tried to improve, but the environment is not designed to let you improve. You want to grow, but the environment seems to hold you back. And many, many times, we are not efficiently effective because we're in the wrong place. I mean, are you at a place in your life where the environments that you're in allow you to grow, or do they stifle you? Are you at a place where you feel you have the freedom to step forward, or are you in an environment that seems to hold you back? What keeps most from being efficient? Now is not as important as when. Folks, you don't have when. All you have is now. When is an emotion, it's a word that allows you to procrastinate. When is a word that traps you in the circle of sameness. The only thing you have is now. And if you're to be efficient with your time, with your life, with your growth, if you're to be efficient, it has to start now. What keeps most? The circle of sameness. Are you still struggling with things today that were in your yesterday? Do you ever find yourself paralyzed because you haven't dealt with things? You ever find yourself trapped because that foundation of belief and trust and faith in you is weak? You see, as long as you trap yourself in repetitive behavior, you can't strengthen the belief in you. You can't strengthen the trust in you. You can't strengthen the faith in you. If you're going to step out, if you're to be efficient, it is mandatory that you work every day to strengthen the beliefs in you. You work every day to learn to trust yourself. And you have that faith that says, I can. Because if you don't, you'll be guided by the doubts that will erode your behavior. You'll be guided by the worry that steals your trust. You'll be filled with the uncertainty that doesn't allow you have the faith to take that step forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many of these are true about you? Look at them. In an honest evaluation of yourself, how many of these do you struggle with? And every one that you struggle with keeps you from being the efficient person you need to be effective with your life, with your time, with your growth. So, the lack of efficiency blinds you to seeking, to seeing, to experiencing opportunities. How does it do that? Well, because you're reacting to the lack of results, your mind shuts down. You know, for so many people, their belief, their trust, and their faith in themselves weakens when they put energy into something and they don't see the results. But here's what I found. So many times we don't commit enough time to let things happen in the order they need to happen. We get this picture that I'm ready and this needs to happen right now. And when it doesn't, what do? You give up. And when you give up, you increase your emotions, you shut your imagination down, and pretty soon you take your mind and you shut it off to being able to see the opportunity that's there. How do you do that? You look for reasons rather than results. Do you know that sometimes results come, but they're not the results that we wanted, so we don't see them? Results come in many different forms. And just because something happens and it wasn't what you were anticipating, doesn't mean it's not a positive result to build off of. But because you can't see beyond your blinders, the result happens, but it's not what you defined, so you shut down. Why? It takes away your sense of adventure. One of the things that is so true about the circle of sameness is it steals adventure from your life. Do you think adventure is important? Yeah, because adventure is where you're going to learn. But to do that, you got to be willing to risk. To do that, you got to be willing to believe, trust, and have faith in yourself. The human life was not made to be stagnant. Stagnant is when you trap yourself in the circle of sameness. Life was not made to be stagnant. It was made for adventure. And when you lack adventure, you are stuck. And how do you know when you're stuck? Because you stare at what isn't happening. How does this happen? How do you miss the opportunities? Not able to see beyond the emotional jungle that has been created. Every time I react, I resist. Every time I resist, I increase my negative emotions. Every time I increase my negative emotions, I create more of a jungle in my life where the seeds of doubt, of worry, uncertainty, where these things grow into vines that wrap themselves around me. And pretty soon they shut down my spirit of possibility. How does this happen? Detours look acceptable. Do you understand that detours come when you don't believe in yourself? I believe this with every fiber in my body. You know what is right for your life. And you can talk to me till the cows come home and try to convince me you don't, but I won't accept it. You know what is right for your life. But if you don't believe, trust, and have faith in yourself, what's going to be the result? I'm going to look for some pathway. And most of the time, what's that pathway? It just takes me back into the circle of sameness, and I travel the same journey, and I'm exhausting myself. But I've made it okay because I'm taking a step. But the question is, every step in your life is taking you somewhere. And if I don't have that belief, that trust, and my faith in myself, it's going to take me back to where I've already been. But the detour is okay because I'm taking action. The question is, what direction is the action taking you? So, there are 9 steps. There are 9 steps to becoming efficient. These are not magical, but I will promise you this, they have an order to them. Take the order away and they will not become effective. Take the order away and they destroy your ability to be efficient. 9 steps to becoming efficient. Step number 1 has to start here. Effort must be driven by a positive spirit. When you look at taking that step in your life, it can't be filled with doubt. It has to be filled with belief. When you lack a positive spirit, you will struggle with keeping your mind focused on the task at hand. The result will be you starting things you don't complete. That result is you create clutter. And do you remember what clutter is? Anything in your life that you start that you don't complete. Clutter becomes stacks. Those stacks are emotional. They affect your mind. And many times they're physical stacks. So anything you want to do with your life, if you're going to be efficient, you've got to start with that positive spirit that allows you to believe in yourself and to know that you can do this. So the effectiveness this step creates, staying focused is easier. How dangerous are you when you get scattered? How much time do you waste when you're scattered? How many things do you start but don't stop, but don't complete when you're scattered? There's a calmer you. I'm going to tell you, when you are positive, there is a calm spirit that is creating the sight plan that you're using. This step creates making every day is possibility driven. I think there's an opportunity in every day. It comes in the form of a possibility, but if I never slow down and look at the possibility, I'll never find the opportunity. Every day, I got to begin my day looking for the possibilities of growth, looking for the possibilities that will allow me to become more efficient so I can become more effective. Because every day that is positive is possibility driven. And then your personal power increases. How good are you when you're calm? How efficient are you when you're clear with what you need to do? How much confidence do you have when that foundation of belief and trust and faith in you is strong? When it's there, that personal power will clear the jungle of emotions and allow you to see that positive pathway forward. Step number 2, face every issue head on. See what this does, it takes away avoidance behavior. It takes away your reasons, your justifications, your excuses. Because I know that if I'm to be efficient with time, with life, with what I want to achieve, I've got to face every issue head on. I can't procrastinate. I can't just let things lay there. Folks, the longer you wait to confront, the larger the emotional jungle becomes. The result, because everything has a result to it. The result will be you collecting emotions you should resolve. How many times do you struggle with your emotions? How many times is the wrong behavior because you put the wrong emotions to what you're wanting to do with your life? If you want to be efficient, if you want that life you keep talking about having, you can't procrastinate with things you need to address. Every issue must be handled head on. The effectiveness this creates, sense of accomplishment. You ever done your achievement list? Because you know I don't believe in to-do lists, but you ever done your achievement list? And man, as you go through your day, you're able to check things off. Doesn't that give you a great sense of accomplishment that you can do this? The effectiveness. There's mental freedom. My mind is not bogged down with things that I've started that I haven't completed. Why? Because as issues come, I face those issues. And my mind then is free to continue to create the journey in front of me. It's an emptying of your emotional garbage can. We all have them. Most of us collect emotions. And anything that I don't confront, I dump into that emotional garbage can. That emotional garbage can is there until I empty it. To empty it, I have to face what it is that I'm resisting. And to do that, I got to face the issue head on. If I never face the issue head on, that garbage, those emotions just lay inside me and they rot. and they continue to eat away at my spirit. Ooh. And again, that personal power just increases. Step number 3, formulate a plan you believe in. Now, you've got to look at the entirety of that statement. It's not formulate a plan. Everybody talks about you need to formulate a plan. Listen, I can formulate a plan and then tell myself I can't do this. I can formulate a plan knowing that I'm lying to myself. And this is why this statement has to be complete. Formulate a plan that what? You believe in. Without a plan you're committed to, every action becomes a guess that will start with doubt. You ever told yourself this? I'm going to try. You ever told yourself this? I guess I can do this. Those words create what? Doubt. If I'm going to try, I've already given myself a reason that I'm not going to be able to do it. If I guess, I'm saying that I really don't have the belief in myself to be able to achieve this. You have to formulate a plan you believe in. Without a plan you're committed to, every action becomes a guess that will start with doubt. The result will be you feeling overwhelmed and strengthening your doubt. That just creates more clutter, more piles of incomplete things in your life. Does this make sense to you? It's like people who write goals. Young people write goals but don't believe they can do it. If you don't have a plan that you believe in, you might as well tear the plan up. Because if you don't formulate a plan you believe in, you're not going to be efficient. Because in order to keep your life moving forward, you've got to build every decision in the foundation of believing, trusting, and having faith in yourself. Do you think that I feel that belief, that trust, and that faith is important? You better believe it. Every time I work with a life, every time I watch them struggle, every time I watch them torture their self with their behavior, I know that they don't have that foundation of belief, trust, and faith in their self. And anytime I work with a person, that's one of the things we have to address. How much belief do you have in you? How much do you trust you? Do you have the faith to really step out and go after what you say you want? The effectiveness this step creates sees a pathway forward. You know how much energy this creates whenever you can see where you're headed. You understand that when you're living in the circle of sameness, all you can see is where you've been. To be efficient, you've got to be able to see the pathway forward. There's a process in place. Hey, I'm not guessing, I'm not trying. I have a plan that I believe in. So my effort is directed in the right direction. That right direction is whatever keeps me on that path of being calm, being clear, and being confident. And when that happens, my personal power is going to increase. Look at step number 4. Investigate all options thoroughly before you take action. Every option is a possibility. If you only have one option and it doesn't work, you know what? You're dead in the water. The result is you feeling paralyzed and filled with uncertainty with where to start. You see, so many times we start before we've done our research. So many times we start before we've formulated that plan. So many times we start with doubt. And that paralyzes us. And this is why before I do anything, if I'm going to become efficient, if I'm going to be effective, if I'm going to keep my life moving forward, before I take that step, I need to investigate what it is that I'm wanting to do. And I need to find all my options. There's always more than one option. But in order to find that more than one option, you've got to slow down. You've got to pace yourself and not let the excitement of what could happen overshadow what I need to do in order to make sure I'm in the right direction. Every option is a possibility. And I've got to examine all the possibilities in order to find the right pathway forward. The effectiveness this step creates sees the big picture. You understand, when I only have one option, it's very narrow. But when I have more than one option, what happens? It strengthens me, because I know if this option doesn't work, I can then move to the second one. So I'm seeing a bigger picture. The more options you have, the bigger the picture, because the more possibilities there are in front of you. There's time to reflect. I'm not going to run into something. I'm going to pace myself. I'm going to make sure that I'm not putting my foot out there before I'm ready to take the step. Because if I'm not ready to take the step, you know what's going to happen? More than likely, I'm going to trip over myself. And what happens if I trip over myself? Do you think that could create doubt? The effectiveness. It entertains new ideas. See, here's one of the great things about options: they make you think. You have to look at them. Is this the option that I need to invest myself in, my time in? Is this the option I need to invest in? And the more options that I look at, the more likely it is that I will come to the right option for my choice. And even if I make the wrong one, if I've got more options, I can come back because I'm not stuck. So what's the result? My personal power increases. Look at step number 5. Clearly communicate the plan with everyone who is involved. Do you know that everything you do with your life will take more than just you to achieve it? Did you know that? I couldn't do what I do without my staff. You know, I don't know how to create these PowerPoints. Could I learn? Yes. But why not put people around me who this is a greater skill than mine, and then free me to do what I'm good at? But people won't know if I don't communicate. So many times we keep what we need to share with others to ourselves. And then we wonder why things get messed up. I was having a conversation this weekend with another one of my mentoring students. And we were talking about why her life was so overstressed. And the more we talked about it, the more she began to understand. I have people around me who are very talented, but I don't give them the freedom to use their talent. Life becomes so much easier when you lose the fear of delegation and you understand I'm not an island. That in order for me to go forward, I need to be able to trust and invest in the people around me and give them the freedom to make us more efficiently effective. You see, clear communication keeps you from having to revisit what you've already been talking about. The result is you creating a common agenda for all. And I tell you, when you have that common agenda, everybody understands the purpose, everybody's committed to what we're doing, there's very few things that can stop you. So I've got to learn to become efficient. I need to clearly communicate the plan with everyone who's involved. Step number, well, what's the effectiveness to this step? It says, I need and value you. I mean, I appreciate Denise, who does all this for me. She's good at it. I appreciate Brian. I appreciate Karen. I appreciate Troy. I appreciate Drew. All these people who are part of the talent pool around my life that give me the freedom to become better at who I am and increase my value. But my value to others many times is reflective of the value of the people in my life to me. The effectiveness, there's a common agenda. We're all on the same page. We're all moving in the same direction. Now, do we always all agree? No. But we will come to a common agenda, and then that becomes our compass. That becomes what we're committed to. Each feels a part. You've heard me say this to you. The number one thing that a human life wants to know is that they matter. And when people have a part in what is bringing value, that creates a sense of crusade for them. And the result of all of this is everyone's personal power increases. Look at step number 6. Inwardly stay calm with everything that happens. Now, do you think that that's easier to put on a screen and say than it is many times to achieve? Absolutely. Because when you lose your cool, you lose your efficiency. When you lose your cool, you're not as effective. When you lose your cool, you are no longer effective or efficient. Ooh, does that make you dangerous? The result is everything being driven by a reaction rather than a response. Does that make sense? Not everything's going to go the way you want it to go. But it doesn't mean it's wrong. It means maybe we just need to look at this a little more. Maybe we need to do a little more investigation before we jump in. I've always told you, pace is such a critical part of anything and everything you do with your life. The effectiveness that this creates slows everything down. You ever been guilty of trying to move too fast? You didn't have all the information. You didn't have the plan in place. You weren't sure about what you were doing, but by God, you were going to do it. When you can stay calm, everything slows down to a manageable pace. There's time to think. You understand, in order to respond, you got to think. When you're reacting, you haven't thought. Energy can be recharged. I'm telling you, when you're calm and you can see that pathway, that is an energy recharger. And you know why that's important? Because it keeps you self-motivated. And when that happens, your personal power increases. Look at step number 7. Energy must be paced. I have a feeling somewhere down in deep within you, you knew this was going to be a part of this. When you're moving faster than you can manage, you've lost control. The other morning I asked my student, are you moving too fast? He says, yes. I said, are you creating more confusion for your life because you can't manage your life and your life is managing you? Yes. Is that costing you energy? Yes. Are you finding yourself frustrated? Yes. Are you disappointed with what's not happening? Yes. Are you finding yourself tired? Yes. Are you finding it difficult to stay focused on what you need to do? Yes. When you're moving faster than you can manage, you've lost control. The result is your pace being out of sync and you not knowing what to do first. You ever sit there and not be efficient with your time because you didn't know where to start? Why? Because there's too much to do. There's so much on your plate. And why? Because you start things that you don't complete. And when you don't complete them, what do? They clutter your life. The effectiveness this brings to your life. Seize the pathway with less emotions. I tell you something, the fewer the emotions, the stronger your clarity. The fewer the emotions, the calmer you're going to be. The fewer the emotions, the more confidence you're going to have. Time to reflect on where you are, not where you want to be, not where you've been, but where am I? You can't start with what you want tomorrow to be. You can't start with what was wrong with yesterday. You have to start with where you are right now. Where are you? To be efficient, I've got to look and face where I am in my life right now. The effectiveness, it expands understanding. Do you know that clarity and energy go hand in hand? Did you know that? When my energy is weak, so is my clarity. So is my imagination. So is my ability to see beyond the emotional jungle I'm standing in. But when I am calm, when I am clear, when I am confident, I can look forward and I can see past the emotional jungle and I can see the sunrise that's on the other side. And you know what that result's going to be, right? Your personal power is going to increase. Look at step number 8. Negative must never be tolerated. And that word never is the power word here. If you tolerate negative, you give it control. And negative is an infestation of energy designed to wear you down, wear you out, steal your efficiency, steal your effectiveness. Because you see, negative doesn't allow for efficiency. The result of always confronting the negative is not allowing those emotions to take over control of the environment. You remember how many times I've told you anything you don't confront, you validate? You must never tolerate negative. You need to face it head on. The effectiveness of this step creates stability increases. I'm going to tell you, when you're in an environment that's negative, there is no stability. Because everything just seems to be shaking with emotions. There's a common commitment that we have each other's back. And you understand that negative people do not have your back. Oh, they walk around you and behind you, but they got a knife in their hand. Negative people do not like positive, and they will work to destroy it. The effectiveness. Everything seen through clarity. Listen, when I'm in a positive environment, what happens? There is positive energy. There's a clarity that doesn't get stifled in doubt. There's a calmness that won't allow worry to take over. There's that belief that says we can. And you know the result. Personal power increases. And then step number 9. Time must be respected. This is critical. If you don't implement everything before we get to step 9, time will be disrespected. Time's the greatest gift you have. Why? There's only so much of it. Why is time such a great gift? Because it's an investment. Why is it such a great gift? Because there's moments to build on. Why is time such a great gift? Because energy is controlled by what you do with time. Anything that drags on and on will soon cause you to lose interest. That's true, isn't it? You ever had something that you thought this is never going to end, so you lose interest in it? Hmm? Anything that drags on and on will soon cause you to lose interest. And it gets added to all those things you start but don't complete. The result is creating more paralyzing clutter. My goodness, folks, how much of your life is controlled by what you need to be doing that you're not doing? Be honest. How many of the frustrations and the disappointments you deal with or are dealing with is because there's so much unfinished that there doesn't seem enough time to get to what you need to be focusing on? You've got to respect time. The effectiveness of this step sees time as an investment. You do one of four things with time. You spend it, you waste it, you abuse it, or you invest it. And when you respect time, you invest it. The effectiveness, this becomes a journey, not a race. I understand that if my pace is out of control, I'm going to waste, abuse, or just spend time, and then I'm going to be frustrated, disappointed, and I'm going to trap myself. But if I invest my time, then I will have the right pace filled with the patience and the persistency to keep my life moving forward. Every second is valued. Not every day, not every hour, but every second. What's an hour? It's made up of seconds. What's a day? It's made up of seconds. Every decision you make will be proven that that is what you want to do through what you do with time. And what happens when you grow to respect time? Your personal power increases. Can you understand the importance of being efficient? You understand how critical this is? I hope you have printed off the study guide to this, and I hope you will take that study guide, and I hope you will look at it. And you know you're going to receive a recording of this. And I hope you will take that recording and you will take it and you'll make it something that you use consistently to help you see how efficient you're being, because you're never going to be efficient if you're not effective. Now, I want you to mark your calendar. Okay, there's some things coming up that I want to make sure you have the dates for on your calendar. The first is our Star Maker 2020 conference. And this is going to be 30 years of having Star Makers. And this is also going to be our final one. 30 years of Star Makers. So 2020 is going to be one of the biggest anniversary celebrations you have ever been to in your life. My theme, because I can. Our dates are July 17, 18, and 19 at the PGA National Resort and Spa in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Folks, this is where we had our very first Star Maker, and we had 12 people there. And from that time, Star Maker has grown and had an effect upon the lives of thousands of people. So mark your calendar. And you can go to my website, richardflint.com, and you can find out everything you need to know about Star Maker. We're only taking 200 people. That's all we can fit into the room, the space that we have. And we've already got over 100 people registered. Take a look at it. This would be one of the most incredible times in your life, because this whole Star Maker is to help you take away that doubt, that worry, that uncertainty, and to build your life on the belief, the trust, and the faith in yourself that every time you take a step, you're taking that step because you believe that you can do it. And then we're going to be doing a series of small group retreats over the next couple of years. And here are the retreats that I'm wanting to do. We've already set the dates for the marriage small group retreat. It's going to be January 8 to 12 at the PGA Resort. Great, great place for couples. And we're only taking 15 couples. And my theme, tweaking your relationship. Listen, most relationships don't need to be changed. They need to be tweaked. So I've asked Peter Gauthier if he will help me. And together we're going to talk about tweaking your relationship. We're going to talk about what makes a relationship happy. We're going to talk about what are those common areas that we need to tweak. And then I'm going to give you my 12 commitments to making your relationship stronger. January 8 through 12, PGA Resort. Go to the website, richardflint.com. Information is going to be there. And then next year, my personal development small group retreat. I'm going to do one of these every year. This one is on decluttering your life. Think you need that? Think you need some help in decluttering your life? You think you need to get rid of some of those internal piles and those external piles? Do you think you need to learn how to do it and to do it without restacking them? Conversation this morning. Richard, I cleaned the table, but I put a stack back there. It's not about restacking, it's about completing. April 29th through May 3rd, we're going to be at the Doubletree Hotel in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Great, great property. And then there are 2 more retreats that I want to plan. One on sharpening your presentation skills. You know, all of us do presentations. So what can we learn? How can we learn to sharpen our presentation skills? If we're going to be effective and we're going to be efficient in our working with other people, don't we need to be sharp with our presentation skills? And then one other one that I want to do that I put up, creating exceptional leaders. I think the word today is not being a good or not being a great leader, it's being an exceptional leader. So we're going to talk about becoming an exceptional leader. Now let me tell you, the marriage council, the marriage retreat, 15 couples, that's all. Personal development small group retreat, 15 people, that's all. And the speaker and the leadership, 15 people. Why 15? Because that's where we can be the most effective and efficient. Because it's not me lecturing, it's us sitting around a table in all of these and learning together from each other. Because each of us bring valuable experience and knowledge to the table. I want to offer you a special gift. You know that I've done a lot of CDs, a lot of MP3s. This is the biggest selling CD, now MP3, that I've ever done on No Limits. I talk to you a lot about doubt. I talk to you a lot about fear. I talk to you a lot about worry and uncertainty because those are the biggest paralyzing emotions you have in your life. On this MP3, I'm going to help you understand, how do I control? Because you can't get rid of doubt. How do I control it? How do I control my anxiety that keeps me worrying about things I shouldn't worry about? How do I get beyond that feeling of being uncertain and learning to have that belief, that trust in my faith, and that faith in myself? You need this. And my gift to you is $15 for it. Now, you can go to the website and buy it if you want to. I don't care. You're going to pay $39 for it. But I'm going to give you $15 for probably the most important investment you'll make in helping you learn to take control of your own life. Right there at the bottom, richardflint.com/product/no limits. Order it and see if it doesn't become a valuable part of your growth journey. I promise you, it will make a difference. Now, I want you to mark your calendar because our next webinar is going to be October 17th. That's a Thursday, 10 a.m. And my theme is going to be bouncing back. I promise you, from me to you and to every one of you out there, there hasn't been a life that hasn't been knocked down. So how do you get back up? How do you have the strength? How do you create that inner part of you that won't let you stay down when life throws something at you what you weren't expecting? Hmm? Thursday, October 17th, bouncing back. Mark your calendar. So here's our last thought. When you are efficient, you are effective. That's when results happen. Pretty short statement, huh? But it's real. How efficient are you? You want to be more? You want to be better? You want to be stronger? That you take these 9 steps and you use them for your life. I'd like to hear from you. richardflint.com. What you think about today's material? Did it create any questions in you that we didn't have time to answer? Huh? Send them to me. No one will read your emails except me. And let me help you. And again, if you would be interested, and maybe you and I exploring working together through my online mentoring program, let me know. I'll call you personally and we'll talk about it. All right, our time is up. It's time for you to go and be efficiently effective today. Okay? See you later.